All right, week 4 is in the books. I think there's a chance that week 5 might be the most fun week of the season. I'm pretty excited. There are a lot of out-of-conference tournaments happening that are reason to get excited if you like to play other than just your standard vanilla conference matchups. Before we get into anything else, we're going to go over the new rankings. We have a new number one team, Liberty Flames, a mid-major. And I think there are still some people that don't appreciate what being a mid-major is. I've said it in a couple of these videos, so sorry if I'm kind of beating a dead horse, but mid-major conferences, there are four. They have 16 teams instead of 12. So while 10 conferences of 12 teams make up the majority of the league, these four other conferences have 16 teams. That should be roughly equivalent to 33% more talent on each power conference team. Just because you have more talent doesn't mean that the stars aren't the stars, and I get that. So if all of the stars play in the power conferences, and then most of those same stars presumably play in the mid majors, okay, yeah, like Cade Cunningham goes for 110 points in both mid majors and power conferences. But your depth is so much worse in a mid major. There is a big difference. Anyone who says that there is no difference, I don't know how else to tell it to you other than math says that's not true. So much respect to Liberty. I gotta say, Fuji, slightly less respect after I watched you go in and trash the SEC folks after your win. You act like you've been there before, kind of thing. But I will say, sometimes you gotta let them know, I guess. It didn't look like those SEC dudes had prompted you in any way, which is why I was sort of taken aback by you basically saying it was embarrassing for them to have lost to you. Didn't love that personally. I'll just say that. There's room to win and not rub it in people's faces. That said, your team kicks ass, so I mean you deserve to be cocky, and it's not like I've seen you interact with everyone else. I'm not saying you're a big jerk, but you really let those SEC dudes know, and I happen to know the SEC. A lot of those same dudes from the old mesh, boy, they stick together. They started dogpiling on you. Maybe it's all just in good fun. But Liberty Flames is your number one. Kent State drops from number one to number two. They only got like 425 this week, something like that, so it dropped them a little bit. Davidson, a really strong start, 7-0. Number three, Bowling Green 7-0, Colgate 7-0, Colorado 7-0. And then we have a team with a loss sneaking in. The Georgia Bulldogs. Flash scored like 580 points this week. Just absolutely insane. I do believe that's the most now. But he lost in his SKI tournament in round two, so he is not advancing to the SKI champs bracket. Hawaii at 7-0, UCF and Princeton. I think that rounds out the 7-0 teams. No, sorry, Long Beach State, another mid-major at 7-0. You can look through the rankings, obviously, right? But just a quick shout outs to Ball State. I'm actually up to 12. Go me. South Florida Bulls, Harvard, Pennsylvania, Stonehill, Delaware, South Carolina, BYU, all 6-1 teams in the top 25. And then a couple 5-2 teams who have been bringing it point wise. James Madison. So I mentioned in a couple videos ago, if anyone wants to help me do some data analysis work, a lot of data entry is needed to support things like this, to let me know. Well, Tom, John, Mike, I guess I should have clarified which of those three is your name. But thank you for the big help today. Did a ton of the data entry for me, which allowed me to focus on some other things, which I'm excited to share with you in a minute. But James Madison, not only can he do great data work, he scored a ton of points this week. We'll get there, but it was something like, it was right near the top. The max points were just crazy. Seton Hall, Arkansas, who lost to Fuji, North Carolina, and Virginia, 5-2, but with lots of points, which gets them into the top 25. I won't go over the mid-major power rankings, but just know that they're there. If you are a mid-major team and you're wanting to see how you're stacking up, 25 of the 64 of us are ranked right here. So, like, if you're doing anything right, you're probably on the list. Maybe let's break it there, and I'll start a new section here next. So let's touch on the SKI brackets that are now complete. We now have a champion for each of those SKI tournaments. We'll start here. Iowa State, D. Carlson gets the win over the interim Air Force Falcons. Thank goodness they did not win. Here is that 506 piece from James Madison, but I think their expected, or their max rather, was like almost 600. South Carolina beats the mid-major Hampton. Kent State, no surprise, was the number one team in the country last week when this game was played. Rice, a crispy chicken. Again, don't know why that name just makes me chuckle. He advances. Hawaii Rainbow Warriors was number 7 in the country, advances, still undefeated. Liberty Flames, your new number 1, no surprise. Frankly, most of the teams in the top 10 are undefeated, therefore they advanced into the finals. So Princeton, another top 10 team. Ball State was not ranked, but is now, I believe, after dropping 470 on Georgia State. Penn advancing, beating Loyola in a relatively low-scoring matchup between two teams that were just, no, I mean, I was going to say that they were killing it. Not really. I mean, they had good scores, but anyways, Penn advances. This is the bracket where Georgia got crashed out in the second round, despite looking like one of the top 10 teams, clearly, after this week. Mid-major Long Beach makes it, beating Penn State, who really had limped into the finals. So a favorable draw there for Long Beach, who got 375. Certainly could have been beat. Another mid-major, Delaware, beating a power conference team in Oregon. So a couple mid-majors sneaking in here. I think that brings the count to 3. Bowling Green with 500 points. Little mid-major Charleston did not have much of a shot when you score that many points. Your daddy, Massachusetts Minutemen, advance. That was probably the lowest scoring bracket all told. There was only one score. No scores went over 402 in the entire tournament. That's statistically just pretty crazy. What do you know? You got the Stony Brook Seawolves finishing the deal. I had a super lucky week. My efficiency has been insane, unsustainably good. I don't have a secret, so don't ask. I just have gotten lucky. Stony Brook, 486. I beat the very friendly Chris Rahi, the Eastern Michigan Eagles. So I'm in. That's the fourth mid-major. UCF has been killing people. He scored 518 this week. Beat the number 1 team in the nation the week before. Ohio State gets in. Don't think they're ranked. BYU gets in, was ranked like number 3, I think the first week of the season or the second week. Lost the ranking along the way, but still advancing. Davidson has been a freaking beast. 479, 491, 531. That's why he's top 5, number 3 to be exact. Frankly, like that's maybe your national championship like favorite to me. Maybe one of the 3. Obviously, he's number 3. And then Yale gets in with 367, 382, and 400. I haven't done the math, but that might be the fewest by someone who advances. Hershey with Xavier advancing. North Carolina, number 12 last week, advancing. Top 10 team, Colgate, Mr. Gray, advancing. Colorado advancing. I'm going really fast. We're going to spend a little bit more time with these teams in just a second. So this was the view that you were used to, right? I told you last week that the champions of these mini tournaments would be advancing to the SKI Champions bracket. So here it is, filled in. It is 23 teams because there were 23 tournaments. That's an odd number, and so the brackets are a little bit different on each side. But there's some of the best teams in the country are here, if you will. I decided that this was cool. I like this view, but I wanted to put a little bit of extra context on it. So part of what I am thankful for to Tom, John, Mike for his help is he was able to help me populate some data kind of in the background, right? Manually, we are entering in the maximum number of points, your number of top picks, your number of worst picks, and the number of points scored against you in conference. And we are doing that. I say we, he did most of it, for all of these teams, 184 times for every all of 14 conferences. We're opening up that weekly report. We're looking inside. We're writing down these numbers. And that's what gets us some of the fun data. At least I think it's fun. And I decided that we would stitch in the data with the bracket. So I present to you a more in-depth look at the SKI Champs bracket. I can't zoom all the way in like I might want to, right? But in the first round, we have your number 20 overall team, BYU, facing number 24, North Carolina. The color codes here basically just show you deep green is as good as it gets, yellow is average, red is bad. So we're seeing that North Carolina has scored a lot more, 437 to 421, because they're working with basically 40 extra points. The average max score for North Carolina is about 40 higher than BYU. So this is an interesting matchup. They're about 4% different in efficiency. That's pretty much what that gap gets you. I don't know. This is a tough one. I feel like whoever wins is probably going down, as we've got Liberty with the most points in the nation, the third most max points, and a top 20 efficiency number. Frankly, there's no weaknesses here. 7-0. Like you got North Carolina here. No offense to Scotty Diesel. It's been a great start. You obviously won your conference, or you won your SKI, but you're 2-2 in conference, right? Like it would be surprising to me if you went on a run. I don't know why I'm picking on you. Sorry. This is a second round matchup, but I guess we can look at it anyway. It's UCF against Princeton. Both of these teams have earned a bye. They were the last two teams to earn a bye. Just so happens with 23 people in the field that you're going to have an odd number of buys. So Princeton, one of the most efficient teams in the nation, number 9, with the second highest number of best picks. That is when you pick the game where a player scores their optimal choice for that week, right? 18 best picks to only 6 worst. That's wild. Sorry, I got distracted by something on my screen. In terms of who's generating more points, UCF is generating a few more, but it's really close. They're number 26 and number 39 in terms of their max. Nicholas Blau, a little bit more efficient than the real Guap. So that's a toss-up. Looks like a great matchup. We've got a mid-major team here, Delaware. They are only generating 460, which I say only because that is 92nd in the country. Now, they're a mid-major. They don't have the same firepower. I already talked about this. What they're doing is picking the right game every time. 88.5% efficiency is insane, unsustainably good. This is how mid-majors are going to make it work. If they can't be efficient, mid-majors, frankly, just don't really have much of a shot unless you are Liberty, who has somehow accumulated just too much talent to lose, is what it looks like. I'm sure I jinxed it now. We see Xavier here as a power conference opponent. He's at 83.5% efficiency, so there isn't a strong edge here. Doesn't look like. I mean, efficiency is a weird thing. Someone can consistently be good at efficiency, but it's like, well, what are you doing? You know, there are projections in Sleeper that are based on math, right? Are any of us smarter than the mathematics system that puts those projections in place? Probably not. But it sure seems like some people have a knack for efficiency. So it's like I don't really want to say that Delaware is likely to win because they're super efficient, because that can go away like that. But I see no reason why Delaware could not advance and defeat this power conference opponent and then face Bowling Green. But once they face Bowling Green, that's a different level. They're 50 points more here, max, 54 points more. So that's starting to feel like it's not a great matchup there. We'll scroll down a little bit. First round matchup between number 15 Penn and the unranked Yale Bulldogs. Not to pick on you, Firecrotch, but you're 93rd in points, 84th in max, 108th in efficiency. It's surprising that those numbers got you into 3 straight wins and got you into the SKI Champs bracket. Penn looks the part. They're 15th in the country. They're top 40 in all 3 major categories, picking a lot of great games, not picking any bad ones. So, frankly, Penn is a heavy, heavy favorite here to advance to face Colgate. And then when you look at these two side by side, they basically generate the same amount of points, but Colgate has been one of the most efficient teams in the nation at 7. Penn is very good, but 27, so that'll be a toss-up. Should be a great matchup. Let's check out the other side of the bracket. A little too far. Okay, a little too far again. Sorry. So we got Long Beach State. Maybe I'll push it into the center of the screen a little bit more. We got Long Beach State over here, a mid-major team, number 19 in the country, taking on the Iowa State Cyclones. So they Long Beach has actually scored more per game, but that is because Iowa State is just not picking good games. 135 out of 184. It's a very bad rank. 8 best picks to 14 worst picks. Long Beach is not one of the top 5 teams in the nation in efficiency like Delaware, but they're still very good, 28%. But when you look at this, I mean, we're talking about 40 points difference in terms of like their firepower. That's basically what the max is. So Long Beach is on a roll, picking really good games. Would not be surprised if all of a sudden Iowa State has one good week and the extra firepower gets them across the finish line here. I mean, 23rd in max points for Iowa State, 83rd for Long Beach. It's hard to consistently beat teams who just have more points to work with than you. So that's a tough ask. And whoever wins is going to face the Kent State Golden Flash. I think this rank is supposed to say 2, right? Yeah. Well, they're 2 right now, anyways. Sorry, yeah, that threw me off. They are just killing it. Top 3 in points, top 5 in max. 16th in efficiency is a great number, picking a lot of great games. Nothing really, you can't really pick anything on Kent State. They're doing awesome. We've got Ball State, who's jumped up to 11, facing Ohio State, who is unranked. Ball State generates more points, scores more points, slightly more efficient, but this is weird. I mean, barely picked any best or worst games. I don't know if you were like AFK for a week or something. That's odd. Very odd. But you're 11 in the country, you won your SKI bracket, so I guess if you were, it didn't hurt you. And then Ohio State, 71st in efficiency, 2 have won 3 straight games. That's, a little bit lucky, maybe, I would say. Whoever wins is going to face Hawaii, who has been a powerhouse. Second most points generated, but 84th in efficiency. So he's generating all these points, still ending up with 447, which is 5th best in the country. But if the efficiency ticks up at all, then that's a national championship contender. We got Davidson, who is top 10 across the board, points, max, and efficiency, and best picks. Davidson is looking strong. They'll play the winner of South Carolina, number 18, and Rice, who is unranked. They both generate about the same amount of max points, but South Carolina has been picking the games better. I happen to know, though, that South Carolina just left Joel Embiid in their lineup last week and still won. But, like, what are you doing? You got to put Embiid out. That just doesn't make any sense. You could have been ranked higher. But anyways, Colorado here. I think this is our last matchup. This is where I fell. I am somehow the number 1 efficiency team in the nation. That feels surreal. Don't have any big secret. Someone told me earlier when I told them this, I'm going to be the probe of a gambling investigation in Mesh, paying off the players or something. I only have the 66 most points generated to work with, so I am not like a super powerhouse here. But when you are the most efficient team in the country, and you're capturing a super high percentage of the points that you are able to capture, good things happen, right? This is not going to last again. I'm not going to be a top 25 team at the end of the year, but it's really fun right now. I'm enjoying the ride, and I'm actually probably favored. I have actually generated more points even than Massachusetts. I have picked much more efficiently, although he's no slouch, 826th in the country. That's great. Whoever wins is going to be playing against Colorado, who, generates 75 more points a game than I do, and even more than Massachusetts, damn near 90 points more. So Colorado doesn't have to be perfect to beat us, and he has not been perfect, 95th in the country in efficiency. So, yeah. Colorado's going to have the edge no matter who advances, but the efficiency, startling, or not startling, but troubling. Whoever loses Whoever wins will likely go down to Davidson, I'm going to guess. So anyway, I know it looks a little wild, but I just wanted to put those additional stats in front of you instead of just the bracket. Um, the only other thing that I want to mention this week, I may do a separate video for this because I just think it's really fun and it's time for mid majors to just have a blast. Weeks 5 through 10. It's March Madness for mid majors essentially. So we have literally 64 mid major teams total. All of us are in this tournament. We are all ranked 1 through 64 currently, and you're either a 1 through a 16 seed in your quadrant. There's 4 quadrants. It's March Madness. Everyone knows what it is. We've got Liberty is a 1 seed over here, and Illinois Chicago is their 2 seed. I am a 1 seed over here with Western Kentucky as my 2 seed. We've got the commissioner himself, a 1 seed, Stonehill Skyhawks, and the Presbyterian Blue Hose are his 2 seed. Both of them come from the Coastal, like me. And then over here we've got the Delaware Hens are a 1 seed with Long Beach State as a 2 seed. So top 25 clash potentially there. I believe the only one that could be possible currently, right? Maybe a mid-major jumps into the top 25 after that. But exciting stuff. I am not going to go as into detail with this bracket as I just did the SKI Champs because there's way more teams here that would take a long time. In a week from now, 32 of these teams are going to be gone. And at that point, it might be feasible for me to do something like that. I'll say this. Anybody that wants to do some data stuff with me, with Tom, John, Mike, let me know. The last thing I think we'll touch on real quick is just our league leaders. So I hope this is visible in the video, nice and easy. The team scoring the most points in the nation is the Liberty Flames, followed by Davidson, Kent State, Georgia, and Hawaii. Oklahoma State, the former number 1, has slipped to 4-3, but still is the 5th highest scoring team in the nation. You can, here's JMU, here's Tom, John, Mike right there, my data guy. So I think this is fun. If you ever want to see your numbers presented like this, I have given this to a few people upon request. Just let me know. I don't know about that part and that part, but I'm happy to send you a little breakdown of your numbers like this, but you have to @ me. I do not have chat turned on in every single conference. I just want, if you @ me, Justin_White, I think's the username, I will get this to you when I have time, if I can. Just showing you your numbers, your ranks. But quick shout outs to the league leaders across the board here. The leader in max points, none other than Tom, John, Mike of JMU. We've got Hawaii at number 2, Liberty 3, Colorado, Kent State, some of the same familiar people, right? Efficiency-wise, I am number 1. Met Runners is number 2, who hasn't dominated, but the efficiency, boy, it's like we're punching above our weight class. Those of us who aren't generating crazy points, but are really, really, really efficient. It's allowing us to stay in games that we shouldn't basically have any business staying in. But then you got teams like Georgia who generate a ton of points, but also are ultra efficient. And his team's really young too, so the dude's just too good. I wish we had banned him from coming over. Shout out for highest number of correct picks. That would be Georgia. 21. I mean, 3 more than anyone else. That's crazy. Other guys really high on the list are Princeton, Belmont, Elon, and NC State. A couple of mesh guys. Actually, mesh guys. Coastal. 3 of the top 6 in terms of best picks are Coastal guys. Go Coastal. And then shout out for all the wrong reasons. Bucknell, Creighton, Louisiana, Iowa State, and NC Wilmington with the most low picks. And then just for fun, the North Texas Mean Green, Massachusetts, Tulane, Houston, and Baylor, you have each had the 5 highest number of points scored against you on average in conference. I have not calculated the out-of-conference stuff. Anyway, this is the kind of data that I'm kind of trying to play with. I want to bring something back that I had done a lot earlier. I hope this still works. Let's check it out. So I want to get back to something, power rankings. This is a template from my power rankings that I did for the league a couple years ago. It includes a breakdown kind of over time, how your team is performing, your current best roster, and their age, their average number of games played, their average number of minutes played, their ADP, the jump in points between what they did last year and so far this year, the rank, right? All of these things averaged out can be used as comparative analysis, which is a lot of fun. And then what I did with this was I literally ranked every single conference from 1 to 16 back when that was the format. I'd like to do it for this one too. It's going to take a ton of work. That's why I would love to have some people who are willing to do some data entry stuff with me to make it happen. But if you're interested in this, there should be a logo up in that top right-hand corner, but sorry. If you're interested in helping me with some of this stuff, let me know. Otherwise, I think we'll save the mid-major mayhem for a different video, or maybe just next week. And let me know if there's anything you want to see in these videos. I know I got one request. Shout out to Charleston. I love Olave. I'm going to do some trade videos too, just to show all the trades that have happened. Just it's fun to know what other people are trading and to laugh and shake your head at some of them. Hopefully not too many, but it's kind of fun. I'm going to do that at some point. Let me know. If you have ideas, just send me a message. I'm all ears. So I think that's it. See you on the next one.